As someone who hasn't been the biggest fan of Phase 5 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I can appreciate the little effort put into some of the characters of the current phase, as well as some of the movies and shows. With that being said, majority of it has been either rushed or just not well put together, leaving questions and lots of confusion. Captain America Brave New World hit theaters about a month ago, and although I loved it, I do have some critiques on the character. At the end of Avengers Endgame, Steve Rogers officially stepped down as Captain America and gave the shield to Sam Wilson. With that, the name and the weight of Captain America. And in the MCU timeline, a couple weeks later, the events of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier would take place. And throughout the show, Sam struggled with becoming Captain America, gave the shield to the government, then got the shield back. And it was actually really nice seeing him come to terms with becoming the hero rather than just accepting it with open arms. Now flash forward 4 whole years. And the main problem here is 4 years without seeing one of the MCU's most important characters decreases the value of the character and the excitement audiences once had for the plot. It would have been exciting to watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and then stall with some other projects for a couple months without letting the excitement for the new Captain America die. Of course, this means seeing Red Hulk earlier, which would have given Marvel more time to set up storylines involving characters like Red Hulk, She-Hulk, and the possible return of Prime Hulk. It also would have given Marvel more time to develop Sam Wilson as Captain America, giving him possible cameos in other projects. Sam could have been present in the end credit scene of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, with Wong and Bruce Banner. Having the new Captain America acknowledge the events that happened in Shang-Chi would have better connected him to the Avengers, kind of like the end credit scene in Ant-Man with Steve, Bucky, and Sam. It would have been received better by audiences, and given Sam a little more depth as Captain America, which was needed, because without build-up, Sam was absent for almost 5 years in real time. And as I said earlier, I thoroughly enjoyed Brave New World, and I love Sam as Captain America. It just works. But Steve as Captain America was never absent for more than little over a year, and if Marvel wants their audience to respect Sam Wilson as Captain America, then they should probably do the same. And if they want to relive their success, they need to start milking their characters like cash cows again, putting them in consistent projects and picking characters people want to see, not Captain Carter, but characters with real purpose and potential, like Captain America, Monica Rambeau, America Chavez, Yelena, Taskmaster, and Shang-Chi. All have an insane amount of potential currently being wasted for the sake of absolutely nothing. What Marvel is currently doing with Captain America is honestly a really good step in the right direction. And of course, him being the new Captain America, he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, which I'm very excited for, because it's smart for Marvel to continue to explore Sam as Captain America. Although he needs to be pushed more as a character, his potential is still there. It just needs to be managed correctly.
I'm Marvel Jesus, you dog creature, and I want
Hulk, one of Marvel's biggest problems, not the character, but the way they've handled him. The character that is Hulk has never really had a stable foundation in the MCU. The 2008 Incredible Hulk was a pretty decent movie, except for the fact that Betty Ross was seen in this movie and not again until Brave New World. And now that over 15 years have passed, Marvel has yet again wasted another potential storyline. It would have been nice to see another Hulk movie after the first Avengers movie, now starring Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, reintroducing Betty Ross and giving Marvel fans a real chance to get to know who Hulk is in the MCU. Instead, they've only used him in Avengers films, a side role in Thor Ragnarok, and a poorly managed She-Hulk cameo, where they made him look significantly weaker than She-Hulk, when it is comically proven Hulk is the strongest Hulk. And I just want to briefly touch on Hulk in Avengers films for a minute, starting with his unnecessary romance with Natasha in Age of Ultron. That wasn't even explored or picked up at all. One moment they're in love, the next one awkward interaction.
Matt.
And then, Marvel pretty much fails to explain how Natasha's death affected Bruce pretty much at all. He gets kind of mad about it in Endgame and moves on. Now, Hulk in Infinity War was very interesting. The first half of the movie, he's taking on Thanos in a one-on-one, and when he lost that fight, it was pretty obvious it bruised Hulk's ego, because the next time we saw him was in Endgame, and him and Bruce were basically friends. which is okay, but they completely removed the part in the story where they showed us when and why Hulk and Bruce came to an understanding. Marvel instead threw Smart Hulk at us and stripped us of everything that made Hulk so popular, now completely killing any chances of Hulk getting another solo movie, because now no one wants to see 2 hours of Hulk anymore, unless they bring back the Hulk we all want. They just moved straight on to She-Hulk without giving Hulk a proper storyline, which is what made some people so frustrated with She-Hulk's character. Some being stubborn to accept her in the MCU, others just not liking her storyline. But one failure at a time. This is about Hulk, on top of his unstable foundation in the MCU. He is absent, like many characters that came before Phase 5. Marvel has tried to push almost every character from the previous phases to the back burner, almost as if they're trying to make us forget them in a way, just so they can introduce the newer characters without giving a proper ending to the ones that really deserve it, especially Hulk. Hulk has so many unexplored plot points Marvel just moved past, like Planet Hulk, or World War Hulk, or something even simpler like the Indestructible Hulk, which again would have showcased Bruce learning to control the Hulk and work with him. All of these storylines could have been used, but I do want to point out the legal issues with Universal Studios. Marvel using the Hulk for solo films due to Marvel having to sell Hulk to stop from going bankrupt limits their options of storylines they can give Hulk. But Hulk was in Thor Ragnarok as an important side character. They could have done the same moving forward, but there is another problem. Marvel can only do that so many times before people get tired of seeing Hulk as a consistent side character to someone else's story. But legal issues aside, Hulk still hasn't been managed properly, and the character deserves better, at least before we move completely on to the next big Hulk. And since we're on improperly managed characters, I couldn't make this video without talking about the one and only Wanda Maximoff, also known as
The Scarlet Witch.
Wanda was first introduced in the post-end credit scene of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Marvel would then go on to make a smart move they don't make often. After seeing Wanda in the end credit scene, we would then see her again over a year later in Avengers Age of Ultron, officially introducing Wanda into the MCU. In the beginning of Age of Ultron, it was made clear that Wanda would be a character with an insane amount of potential, and she shows that throughout the movie. By first tampering with every Avenger's mind, causing Iron Man to create Ultron and Hulk to go on a rampage, destroying New York City and putting lives in danger, which wasn't all her fault, because Ultron did manipulate her into believing she was doing a good thing by helping Ultron destroy the Avengers, but then she had a change of heart and ripped Ultron's out. After his destruction of Sokovia and the death of her brother Quicksilver, who, although I think it's pretty obvious, we'll get into his wasted potential on another video. But back to Wanda. After saving the people of Sokovia and killing Ultron, she officially became an Avenger, being the first magic user introduced into the MCU and one of their most powerful characters. We would then see Wanda again in Civil War, when on a mission in Lagos, Nigeria. She would attempt to prevent the destruction of a bomb, but at that point she was not strong enough to contain it, resulting in multiple deaths. And in my opinion, this is where Wanda would begin to question herself as a superhero. Throughout the movie, Steve and Tony debate back and forth on multiple things, one of them being if Wanda is a true danger to humanity, leading to a fight between all the Avengers where Wanda would show she could hold her own in a fight, having little to no emotional connection to the Avengers. But because she was basically breaking the law by siding with Captain America and protecting Bucky, among other things like aiding a fugitive and escaping government custody, so on and so forth, that would lead to her getting arrested. But shortly after Captain America would break her out, Wanda would show up again in Infinity War, displaying more of her power when she destroys the Mind Stone, but it would mean nothing anyway because Thanos would just rewind time 2 seconds later, but she would return in Avengers Endgame, when Hulk snapped half the universe back, and one of the first things Wanda did when she came back was make Thanos cry for help. And no more than 3 weeks later, the events of WandaVision would take place. Wanda, dealing with the heartbreak of losing Vision and not even getting a real chance to say goodbye, went to a town called Westview, where her and Vision planned to live out the rest of their days as a loving couple, Long story short, she's heartbroken, takes the town captive. A witch named Agatha comes along and tells her what she's been doing and attempts to steal her magic. Wanda is a hero at heart, so she frees everyone, also meaning having to let go of her family, now having a deeper attachment to Vision and her children that she created using magic. At the end of the show, she officially becomes the Scarlet Witch, while in possession of the Darkhold, and sets out to find her children. When she does find her children, it's in another universe different to her own. And Marvel did Wanda so wrong in that movie, I act like it doesn't exist, so I'm just going to summarize it. Wanda destroys the Kamar-Taj while trying to capture America Chavez, a dimensional jumper. In fear, America jumps to another universe, so Wanda, being a magic user, she does something called dreamwalking, basically takes over the mind of the Wanda in the universe that America jumped to, and kills the Illuminati, and I have a whole nother problem with that lineup. But to stay on track, she murders them with ease, successfully captures America, who then, in attempts to defeat her, shows Wanda her children are terrified of her.
Oh, stop it!
Right before she destroys the Darkhold in every universe and crushes herself under some rocks. And my main problem with this ending, I guess, is just poor writing. Not even just in this movie. Wanda's character in the MCU has not been used to her fullest potential at all. They should have kept somewhat of the original script for Multiverse of Madness, where Wanda was the hero. And then it would have been a perfect lineup for her to get her own solo movie, which I'm sure with good writing and a fantastic storyline would have broke records, which I can get more into in another video. They could have chosen the House of M storyline from the comics and then sent Wanda off into hiding. And then in a couple movies, they could have brought Wanda back, involving her in a potential plotline in Avengers Doomsday. And there's just so much to say about this character and not enough time in this one video. Bottom line is, her story doesn't make sense value-wise. And now she's dead, I think. All of these characters can be saved, especially because none of them are bad. Their stories just need work. And with Marvel moving on to the next major event in the MCU and whatever they plan to do after, I can only hope they don't leave these important characters with unfinished stories and just move on and repeat the cycle, especially when they plan to bring characters like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men into the 616 universe. Marvel can do these characters right. They've done it before. But because they've lost so much trust from their general audience, they'll have to gain it back again. And if they provide these characters and a list of others with the proper storylines, they will do that and more. If you made it this far in the video, you either agree with what I'm saying or you're preparing to write a hate comment. Either way, go ahead, like and subscribe so I can keep pointing out Marvel's mistakes and so you can keep commenting about how much you disagree. Until then, have a wonderful day.